What's up, guys? And this is JTQ9 of LVT, and welcome back to another episode of LVT Delicious Delights. We have our season 53, war number 1. For the first time, we are going... Not for the first time, I stand corrected. We are going back to decay, which we saw several seasons ago, which led to very few deaths and led to many, many donuts. So what the purpose of this particular video and season is hopefully to get nice and fat, eating up a bunch of donuts constantly.
Which makes it a little bit tougher to deal with, because then all of a sudden you're dealing with time, and it becomes every death is even more essential and stressful and everything like that. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. So thank you guys for tuning in. We are back for another season. As I said, season 53, war number 1, 2, and 3. Unfortunately, my schedule has not eased up very much, so it's getting tougher and tougher to get these videos out in time, especially coming up with the holidays and everything that's coming around. So we are going to try something different this season and only release arguably one video a week to give kind of a summary of the week and as we go through. And then that way you can see, well, if you've been kind enough to stop by and watch our videos, you can see a little bit more of it. I have fast forwarded them, so instead of being, a standard 5 to 6 minute video, I managed to get, I think, all 3 wars into about 12 minutes, so it's not too bad in terms of a delay. So anyway, to start this off, we have lane 7. We have this Chi versus Kushala, and I had taken this fight a bunch of times in off season, so I guess I was dubbed Path 7 for this particular war. And the idea was you don't want to throw any specials, because when she shrugs, then you get that glancing up and does damage back. So the play there was just to play nice and safe, just have her spam the SP1. Don't get hit, obviously, and just beat her down a little bit more slowly. So unfortunately, that fight took a little bit longer than I would have liked, but it is what it is. At least it was safe. So here with the second fight, we have Spider-Ham versus Wiccan. I am so happy this season that I potentially will be using Spider-Ham a little bit more. The last time we had Decay, I believe he was on defense, if I'm not mistaken, because I used a good dose of Spider-Gwen and Fred, who else we used in that particular tactic. But as you saw with Spider-Ham, that the fights go down relatively easy. So this is a new fight here. This one here is my brand new SIG 200 R3 Gladiator. Never used him before this war. Maybe one arena fight and a couple duels. So you are going to see as the season progresses my progression using him. So the idea is you want to keep the vigilance up, because the vigilance prevents any armor ups from happening. Because the second any armor up kind of happens, I will take some significant bleeds, as you're about to see, because now he's unstoppable. I have a bleed, which wasn't too bad, but he does have that armor up, so I had to get the slow up there, which I failed to drop off. And just because of the withers and stuff, it didn't do too much damage. So I managed to get him down with still, 98% health. So I was kind of a little concerned going into that fight. It didn't go as smooth as I could. But all things considered, coming out with almost a full bar of health is, well, with the solo, is the most important thing. So, again, we have, this fight just goes down super quick. With the amount of poppers I have up and the way he spams the specials, with the exception of the hits I kind of took there. The idea with Spider-Ham, there's 2 ways you can play him. I like throwing the SP2, which builds up the extra porkers, but the SP1 also freezes them. So that is what it is. So anyways, the fun thing was with this first war, it enabled me to pass my first 100 100 deathless streak at LVT. LVT does track the stats and everything like that. And because of that, I was gifted this very, very cool penny avatar that I'm now using kind of on all of my profile picture, stuff like that. So thank you all to LVT for making that happen for me, and very excited to finally pass that 100 death mark, because heading into a new tactic, you never know how it's going to go, considering I think I was sitting on 97 or 98 after the last 2 tactics, because I didn't die in the last 2 seasons. So, and I apologize too for that. Well, just as that popped up on the screen, I did want to mention that we did have a team donut in that first war, so we did end up beating Nefty, which was absolutely huge. Everyone was really jacked up about that. We had a really good season, because Nefty has had our numbers sometimes in the past, and it is what it is. So we go from there. So but as I was saying, like I had that 97 or 98 streak heading into the new season, and starting with a new fight with Gladiator. I believe Gladiator was actually my 100th fight for that fight. So, not really knowing how it worked or how he worked very well was a little bit scary. And now with this fight, this was one that I wanted to get back because, again, being the second time I've now used Gladiator in a fight, and when I was doing duels and stuff, you can hit into his block at times to remove the armor, but you need the vigilance up, which usually helps because then you won't take the damage, and you're not going to be getting the power burn and stuff because Gladiator is power burn immune. So this is why you see me hitting into the block a couple times to remove those armors, but when I'm not doing successfully, I'm losing health and I'm taking shots, and this fight was just a whole bunch of what should have happened. I should have been heavying the SP1. I should have kept vigilance up for the most part. Keep the slow up, keep the withers up, and then that way I wouldn't have an issue. So all things considering that was a horribly played fight, and I thought I was actually going to die to Red Skull at one point. I was sitting there halfway through the fight and I was looking at his health and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. I'm halfway down, taking a beating from Red Skull, which should have been a relatively easy fight with Gladiator, and I managed to make it very, very hard. So anyways, good news is I had Spider-Man following up, and as you saw, he just absolutely destroyed Sigil, which very quickly, like within 30 seconds. I didn't even have time to talk about the fight. So I love using Spider-Ham. He's basically my go-to science champ now for almost any content. I just love using him. He's just an absolute beast. So this was a scary fight. So this one here, as you saw, I got the bleeds up on me because she has the armor ups, and I had the vigilance up, but anyway, it was just a very scary fight to start because until I was able to get all 5 withers up, I'm not protected. So at least now I'm able to keep the vigilance up and throw I completely messed up. I let the unstoppable happen, and I did the heavy to get the slow up so that wouldn't happen again. And now getting the bleeds on me again could have been scary, but then I got the vigilance up again, and anyway, very, very sketchy fight heading in. I mean, the next time if I were to take this fight again, I think we learned a couple of things that we'll see maybe in some future wars, but very sketchy fight taken out with Gladiator. As you saw, I took some significant damage at the beginning, and it could have gone very, very bad, but managed to pull through. Again, as long as you get the solo, that's all that matters. We laughed about it after walking in, and I think the first comment from one of our officers was, yeah, we won't be sending that matchup again. Can you rank up X person instead? So, which is what I did, and fortunately I haven't had to take that fight again. No one's really placed her in that position, which is fine, but we have a counter for the next time that happens. But all to say is he is a very, very, very good champ, as you saw. Just took out Nimrod. And that leads us to our second donut, Team Donut. So we are getting fatter and fatter. My first donut, I had a chocolate glaze. This one, I think I'll go with some sprinkles. There's some good ones out there. Maybe I really like those powder donuts, with the cherry or the strawberry jam filled inside. Maybe I'll go with that one this time. But the whole idea is that we're still eating, we're munching, and we head into our third war against F and G here. This fight usually lasts, for the last, I don't know, God knows how many seasons, I was taking it with Hulkling. And I told the officers at the end of this fight that as much as, in theory, Gladiator works here, in the sense that once you get vigilance up, like at the start, he won't proc the armor, which, can lead to some issues when you're hitting him, but then it makes it harder to spam specials. Like right now, you have that power kind of lock. I didn't like this fight because the thing is when a lot of the deaths this season that we've seen from both alliances actually have come from this particular fight on Path 3, where if you get even so much as touched by Venom, he just bleeds you to death. So the whole time I'm in this fight, like we're now a minute and a half in, and the longer the fight goes on, there's a risk I'm starting to get backed up. There's always a risk that he can clip you at any given point. So after this, I made a a strong suggestion that if we're going to take these fights moving forward, to go back to Hulkling, because Hulkling can get this fight down in 20 seconds, 30 seconds. So if everything is really going to come down to a timer instead of like actual deaths, because we've seen a lot of very low death wars. Like typically, with one death, you may tie, which comes down to time, and 2 deaths, you're absolutely losing against all these top alliances that we're facing constantly. So yeah, with that being said, we'll see what happens moving forward with the wars. But again, another quick fight with Spider-Ham. I don't even get the chance to talk with him in terms of strategy, but usually what I do with him is I will parry heavy to start to get the slow up, get the 5 withers, usually do either medium, or medium, light, medium to get the poppers up a little bit quicker. And then either if he's got 5 or 6 porkers on him by the time I get to a bar of power, then I'll throw the SP1 just to kind of lock those in, because they won't expire. And if I find that he's only got 1 or 2, then I'll push to the SP2 and to be able to just throw on the extra 3 or 4 porkers at that point. So again, I made a mistake here where I let the slow drop off, even though I was good at keeping the vigilance up. With Nimrod, yeah, the only thing you really have to worry about is if you try to chain any of your specials, or when you're about to cross bar power, that he will power lock you for a brief moment in time. So anyways, I took this fight last time against Red Skull, so we're going to see how our progression was compared to last time. So again, starting off with an advanced power boost, which is what I do with all our gladiator fights, because we want to make sure that we have a vigilance ready in reserve. And then the idea is to not knock him down the slow with the intimidate, which will push him back, and then to really try to keep on the vigilance. So at no point against Red Skull am I trying to build the confidence. What I could usually try to do is build up to 10 confidence, which would allow me to chain heavy, kind of a combo, and then which will give me an unblockable, and then I'll spam the SP2 to do additional damage in terms of incinerates and stuff. But at this point, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to play it super safe. So this fight went way better than that first time around. So really, really happy with now I'm getting a lot more comfortable with Gladiator. We're only on War 3, so we're going to see what happens after that. But this war, we did unfortunately die twice. But keeping with the donut theme, our battle group BG1 ended up posting another donut, so good job to BG1. I believe BG2 also posted a donut, but anyways, all to say is that the most important thing is that we won. That moves our record to 3-0 after week 1. Very happy with that, and then moves my kill death ratio to 12-0 for the season. So good start to the week, 3-0, always a good thing. We'll see what happens. I'm sure we got some big wars coming up. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all again for the officers. I didn't get a chance last season to thank you all for all the hard work that you guys do. Always very appreciative. Welcome back, Crestum, to BG1 again, planning again after a couple seasons break. So happy to have him back as well. And we will catch you all in the next video. Take care, guys.